And we're live. This is Gnashing of Teeth. This is episode. What are we on now? Uh,
Eight,
8.
eight,
Yep.
eight.
I'm Casey,
Not Milo.
and so um, how's it been going, Top G? You good?
Been good.
Good.
Enjoying the weekend so far.
There you go. Um, okay, so we uh, Gnashing of Teeth has been receiving some emails, and so we thought it'd be a good time to um, kind of read those off. We do respect everybody's privacy, so I'm just going to read the questions, and then I'll read the question because I've got it printed off here, and then I'll have Milo answer, and then I'll kind of come in and answer as well. So some really good questions. The first one here is, what are your thoughts and views on demonolatry as a practice? Because there's ceremonial and grimoire practitioners who can be salty about one or the other, right? And
Right.
so I guess it's what is your opinion of the two? And then so like, using grimoires versus like demonolatry, and then what are the differences, I suppose, and maybe we get into why someone wouldn't like one versus the other.
Right. So demonolatry is relatively modern in theory when we're looking at Western occultism. Um, because it's specifically demonolatry means, praising demons. And when I think of, you said ceremonial and grimoire magic, right?
Yeah.
Is the question. When you think of that, the first thing that comes to mind is kind of Solomonic magic and, constraining and binding demons to kind of do your will, per se. And demonolatry is kind of the opposite. It's about forming a relationship with an actual demon and not constraining or binding them to do your bidding and, rule the world, you an evil laugh, right? It's a respectful kind of agreement and arrangement. And I think that people would look at that and frown upon it in the occult community. And I think that is largely due to uh, Western brainwashing is a bad term to use, but a lot of occultism is influenced heavily by Abrahamic religion, Christianity specifically. And I don't think a lot of people realize it. And I think that demonology being a modern practice and kind of a new idea could stir some complications with people. But I'd be interested to hear your thoughts.
I when I first read it, I thought first thing I thought was great question, and
Mm,
two different things, right? The one is praising, and the other one's more controlling, or
mm,
ask, or like, got Solomon's got his ring and they're doing his bidding and whatever. And to me, it's kind of like music. If you go to a festival and you got an older gentleman there, and he's got a AC/DC, and Guns N' Roses, Metallica, then here comes a younger guy with a Moon Tooth shirt on, and they give each other weird looks, like they don't like each other's music, but it's still rock and roll. It's still metal, right? It's just two different like genres, or something. So that's what it reminded me of, was kind of like, you know you just got those old school people,
mm,
who like, all the old school guys like the first few albums of a band, and then they don't
right.
like the rest of it. But then there might be a younger group that likes the rest of it. And so now it's like, oh no, it's old Slayer. No, man, it's new Slayer, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
just think it's people in general. The other thought was, if it works, you know, if I'm practicing one or the other, and demonolatry works for me, then I really don't need to control a fallen angel. I don't need to, I don't need the lesser key, because I want them to
Right.
work with me. I don't want to control it. Maybe they work with you through the lesser key. I don't know. It's just not what I've read. So Yeah, I mean, I get the question. I get the argument. It's a good
Yeah.
question. It's a really good question. Um,
Mhm.
Next question. Um, what are you guys' thoughts on minors or people under 18 practicing, demonolatry or ceremonial or grimoire or just crooked path stuff?
Right. It's it's not really like kind of up to us to say. It's really just when the practitioner feels it's necessary. I started researching when I was like 17. I started practicing when I was 19, I think. It took about 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it was kind of around the adolescent stage. So it's really just up to when you feel ready.
Well, I think it's more like, when I was going through my chaotic spell with Asmodeus, I remember you asking you like, "Hey man, do I back out of this?" And you're like, "Hey man, is stuff getting lit on fire?" And I said, "No." And you're like, "Well, it's not that bad."
Yeah.
And so I suppose if uh if one of my kids at a young age, like if you came up to me and you were like 13 or 14, and I'd say, "Well, let's not be like summoning, you know, any demons or anything yet. Study the books, do that kind of thing, and then when you feel like you're at a certain level, then the one thing you don't want to do, which is the part of the question, is do you really want a bunch of 15-year-olds in a forest dressing up and just casting spells, man? You know,
Right.
we could have demons running all over the place, uh, which is fine with me. Okay, couple more. The next one is a good one. So the guy's asking, "Hey, it might be a gal. You know, you, I like the podcast and I like the show, and you guys are always talking about all these different books. What is a good book or two for me to start my journey in the occult?" Which is it's a debatable deal because everyone might have a different opinion on which book it would be. So if I asked you, bro, what book, what's it gonna be for starting off?
It, I wish I could say one book,
I know the
but
one you want to say.
it's it's a wide range of things, and it depends entirely on what you're interested in, right? The
Yeah.
occult has many different paths.
Yep.
And, if you're into Hellenistic practices, which is like, the Greek pantheon, then you could go down that route and you could research books on that route. If it's witchcraft related, you could go with books like Psychic Witch by Aaron, I believe, and The Crooked Path by Keldon, I think. I'll link those books below. They're all on Amazon, I'm pretty sure, but you could go that route. When I first started, uh, you told me specifically to get the Necronomicon, which I did. I'm not a big fan of it personally, but it's definitely an essential book. The Book of Saint Cyprian was another starter, and although they aren't staples in my practice, they led me to books that eventually became fundamental to my practice. But I can't give you books that are fundamental to me that would be fundamental to you. If you're looking for an occult book, Grimorum Virum, I don't know who the author is, don't ask me. I'll link that as well. It's on Amazon, I believe. The Kabbalion
Yep. Yep.
is about Hermeticism. Those are books that are staples in the occult, but I can't pinpoint one that's just gonna get you rolling and get you on the path, because a lot of books are a bunch of fluff and you just have to go searching.
Yeah, and you also don't know what the the author of the question. What do you What do you? I'll respond to all these, but like, what are you looking for? Are you looking for just creating the higher being, or do you want material things, or are you trying to hurt
Mhm.
people? What's your intention first? And
Yeah.
then, what do you want to do? Because you can steer them to chaos magic, you can steer them down, the black magic, you can, the whole thing, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So for me, and this is a really odd duck, but I have to explain how it got me into the occult. So I always suggest to read The Lost Book of Inky. Now, this
Mhm.
is not an occult book. It's not an occult book, but it does do this thing where it starts answering all these questions in the Bible, which when I was younger, I was like, wow. And then that led me, and that was when the Necronomicon, the mad Arab is screaming out this guy's name, you know. So
Mhm.
between those two again, this one like cracked the religious code for me, because I was really similar. With like you, it was, I'm getting the Christianity thing pushed down me, but it just didn't feel right. And then, you read stories in the Bible, and I'm not putting down the Bible or Christians by any means, because I love many of them,
Mhm.
and it's a good book. And but what it did was it just answered a lot, and it led me to go. I just wanted to read more books. I wanted to know no that this gave me so much information that I just wanted more information. So,
Mhm.
I'm just buying occult books left and right just to try to get more info. So this one I recommend if you want to crack some codes and learn some stuff. And then it really opens the door to the occult, right? Because the occult means like forbidden and stuff you shouldn't know. And so
Right.
that would be my choice. Uh, I agree with you with Saint Cyprian. That is an awesome, awesome book. Very fun to read.
For sure.
Yeah. Uh, okay. This is a good one. We talked about this already, but I'll read it just for the author. Have you guys ever been scared practicing and doing rituals with the occult or the left hand path?
You can start with this one. I want
I've
to hear
been
you.
Yeah, I've been scared tons. Okay, the first one was when I was trying to practice uh Constantinosis thing with you go outside and you feel the dirt and you kind of start smelling it and you get this little crackle, and I felt the crackle and I ran into my house. I never finished the ritual or whatever because I got scared. And then of course,
Yeah.
obviously when I woke up and my room was tattooed with circles, I was telling
Yeah.
Asmodeus the night before, hey, let me know that you're here with me. And then he did. And I was like, wow, I was scared. I was really
Yeah.
scared for the first like 20 minutes. I was like, wow, he was here or he is here. And it was
Mhm.
cold and it was just weird in there. And that was scary because I was like, wow, he's like touching and doing tangible physical things. So that
Right.
that those two things scared me. And what's the scary part is they're working. And
Mhm.
I just didn't have the guts to sit through the whole thing and experience it. Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's the difference. The only way out is through. So if I just would have hung in there, then maybe it would have been an awesome experience and I could talk about it. But instead I got scared. I ran in my house, you know, looking at
Yeah.
my
I see that you have Asmodeus's sigil in the background there. It's a perfect square on the screen.
yeah. I found, like I said, I'm going through my stuff,
Yeah.
finding like his stuff. I'm also sporting his
The
sigil on
shirt.
the shirt. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Asmo, that's my buddy. Well, okay. I think I know the one you're going to tell because I think you told it in episode 7. But anyway, what? Give me a couple times you're scared with the occult.
All right. So in the beginning, I was scared a lot, right? Obviously, I had nobody to go to. I had no sort of, I guess you could say, community, or I was just kind of pioneering. And I still get scared to this day, depending on the ritual or invocation. And I'll tell you a story that I haven't told yet to the
Oh,
audience. Well, it's not crazy. But when I first started meditating with Lilith, I would, I would face a wall. I'd have incense and I'd have a candle and it'd be a pitch black room. And I would be like kind of visibly shaking because, at the time I'm still thinking this is the queen of hell and, that this is going to be negative. She's going to appear out of nowhere and start freaking hurt me or something like that. It's kind of funny thinking back on it now, but when I would meditate, I would feel like a nail slash finger like poking me on the neck. It's like the middle of the neck, and it would be like every like 25 seconds.
wow.
And in that moment, I was scared, but at the time I thought it was like a test. Am I going to turn around and get freaked out and finish the meditation early, or am I going to go through with it? Am I going to keep meditating? Am I not going to let myself get scared over something? But yeah, so definitely plenty of times where I got scared, and I still do get scared depending on the experience. But it's important to break down why you're feeling scared and what's the worst that's going to happen to you, and break it down as far as you can to kind of truly understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. I think that's pretty important. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, last email since I
All
looked
right.
at yesterday or this morning. I was very last one. So, how do other people view you now, knowing that you're, you know, an occultist? So I would ask like, what's family think? What's friends think? Or does anyone even know?
Yeah. So basically kind of judgments around it, right? And it's a weird one because I don't necessarily go around wearing an Asmodeus sigil on my shirt. And I don't really go around flaunting my practice. Obviously, there's times where I want to, but I don't normally do. It's a very solitary practice if you do decide to practice. And it being solitary, I think that's kind of going off topic, but I'll get back on topic. Trust me, I'll get back on topic.
I know you will. I know
I
you will.
think that's why a lot of people want to seek out an order or a group um, to kind of practice and learn about the occult and esotericism and things like that. And it can lead to a lot of drama and ego trips, and it can be a very unhealthy thing. And a lot of groups like fall apart because of that. But anyways, the occult is completely chaotic, but that's why I fell in love with it. But back to the thing of judgment, I'll bring up family as a big one. When a majority of my family's Christian, right? And when they found out about Lilith, I got bashed pretty heavily, right? You can do a Wikipedia search and then all of a sudden you're thinking she's, the wife of Satan and, a bunch of ridiculous claims. And
Yeah.
I got bashed on it pretty heavily. And um at the time it was like during like the beginning of me reaching out to her, and it got to me quite a bit. Like I never really defended her, and I would just kind of take it. And looking back on it, it's pretty sad because she's like quote unquote my patroness now, right? So somebody that you're supposed to hold highly, and you're just getting shit on about it. And that's kind of why I got the tattoo on the forearm. It was more of a defiance and to solidify the belief. And this is my practice. I could have put it somewhere that would be well hidden, but I didn't. If I'm wearing short sleeve, the whole thing's showing.
Yeah,
And I got that on purpose. So definitely a lot of judgment, and a lot of people will judge you, but it really just depends on how much you're showing your belief or your practice. And it's unfortunate, but it's what it is.
is what it is. I mean, I suppose if you didn't want people to know, you could do kind of what you're doing, where you just kind of sit by your altar in your room with your candles and incense, and you do your own rituals, and don't go out waving the flag of
Yeah.
you know left hand path, and you could stay pretty anonymous with it. um
Yeah.
I don't I completely wear all my stuff everywhere I go, and not for like reaction, more for like um just like it's more like showing recognition of who I'm following and who I'm talking to, and who's helping me, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
so I just sport them like I would a football team, you
Yeah.
know. And so that's kind of what I do. I don't get No one says a word to me. No one. Well, I did have a family member tell me one time with a shirt to take it off and burn it. I put it inside out just for respect, or I changed it just for respectful reasons, you know.
Yeah.
So I got to be careful sometimes. So like, if I'm going to work to pick up something and I'm wearing, the Asmodeus sigil, I should probably change into, something little better. But honestly, I haven't got a lot of. Everybody's like pretty supportive of it. I mean, even when the Mormons were coming over and visiting with me, they'd sit and read the occult books, and then they invited me to their church, and of course I went because they were cool. And it's another thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain to people that even though I'm wearing this evil shirt, I'm a really nice guy, and I'm polite, and
Right.
I want people to be like, oh man, that guy believes in something we don't believe, but he's a hell of a guy, just a really
Yeah.
likable guy. And now we can start breaking down some walls and having some really nice communication about philosophy and religion, and that whole thing. So,
Yeah.
all right, that was our emails. So hopefully, if you guys are listening, we answered those for you. Um, send us an email on anything you want. We'll I'll personally write you back, and then we'll talk about it in front of everybody, just so everybody can be part of our gnashing of teeth group.
For
What are you
sure. For sure.
What are you drinking there?
Well, I got water and I got a Pepsi. I usually have a Gatorade, but not this time.
It's funny you mentioned that. I had a lemon lime Gatorade this morning.
Lemon. It's one of the. I don't understand the obsession over lemon lime Gatorade. It's one of the OGs, but I don't like it personally. But, yeah,
What's
yeah.
your go? What's your go to?
Glacier Freeze. It's the most popular one.
What color is that one?
It's blue.
It's blue,
It's light blue.
light
It's light
blue.
blue.
All right, I'll try one next time I'm in the store when I see it.
You haven't had one? You haven't had one?
No, I always get the lemon lime ones.
That's
It is what
that's
it
yeah,
is. It is what it is.
I
Let's
guess, but it's a popular one.
let's go on to the next subject. I think we have time. So the one thing I wanted to talk about was the the how do I start this? The whole universal thought of God and gods, or fallen angels, or whatever. And so the range really is like the atheist,
Mhm.
and then it goes all the way to and I hope I'm not pronouncing this wrong, but like the omnism group of people. And then, of
Mhm.
course, in the middle there's like agnostic and that kind of thing. So it's a weird thing, but like, so I know an atheist, and literally he just doesn't believe in anything. He thinks when you die, you just get buried in the dirt. Agnostic people, they'd like to believe, but they can't prove it, so they don't know. They don't want to talk about it. Like I can't talk to you about it because I haven't seen proof.
Right.
And then the omnism is more like you and I, where we definitely found our path, but we respect everyone else's. Right?
Right.
If you're a Christian, good for you. That's awesome. We like Jesus. If you're a Buddhist, great. I love what he teaches. If you're an occultist, fantastic. Again, I went to the Mormons church with them. And so I do like the respect of all the different religions. And again, trying to get some respect for the occultists too, right? If
Mhm.
you're an omnism guy or an omniist, then you would be inclined to like not necessarily follow what we're following, but you would definitely be like, okay, I respect that, right? It's their decision.
Right.
I respect it.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think about that the spectrum of I don't believe in anything, and then you get all the way over here to the left, and it's I believe in everything.
Right. So omnism or omnism or however you pronounce it is basically the respect and belief of obviously like all religions and kind of beliefs. And it goes back to like, who are we to judge other religions and beliefs if it's working for them? I always use a popular example for myself, not for myself, but I go back to this example. Goddess Kali, which is a Hindu goddess. People say that they experience her, they work with her, and they're seeing tangible results.
Yep.
Does that make Hinduism 100% valid and everything else not valid? Maybe, maybe not. But, I'm having experiences with Lilith. So does that mean,
Right. Right.
she being, the queen of hell or, a Hebrew demon, does that make, Hebrewic, Abrahamic, you could call it Abrahamic religion, but I think she's a bit older than that. But does that make that valid? And I think that everybody kind of has a piece of the truth to the ultimate picture. And I think that's kind of what omnism or omnism represents. A lot of atheists like to go on about proof and scientific proof, which is the repeatability of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't, prove to you that George Washington was the first president of the United States either, right? I can't
Right.
repeatedly prove that. So we have to go based on a bunch of knowledge bases. And, people experienced George Washington being the first president. It was wrote in history and we're going with it.
Yep.
The problem is that millions of people say that they experience things, right? So are they void because they can't scientifically prove that they're having these experiences? So like atheists, I guess you could say. It's like if I did an invocation with a group of practitioners and we invoked King Paimon and we all experienced the same thing. Are we void because we can't prove that later in the day to an atheist that we just came across? No. And I guess this is important to note too while we have time. I used to care about proof a lot when I first exited Christianity and went into the occult, but experience ruled that tenfold. And I don't care if anybody else believes in it because at the end of the day, it's working for me and
Right. Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
And I don't care to prove it. Works for
Right.
me.
Yeah. You don't have to, and neither do they. Neither do they.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, oh, that's a good
Yeah.
subject. So keep writing us emails. The timer just kicked. So all you guys listen, hit us with emails, Gnashing of Teeth podcast at Gmail. They're starting to come in. It's nice to read them off and get some questions answered. So thank you guys for doing that. I guess if you have an opinion on the atheists, and the agnostic and the omnism or anything like that, hit us in a comment, hit us in an email. Let's talk about it. And good show. Good show. Tomorrow night is what, Fury and Paul duking it. Who you taking?
Tommy Fury and Jake Paul.
Who you taking?
I don't even know what time it starts because it's hosted in what, Saudi Arabia or something.
Yeah,
But
something. Yeah.
I, I'd have to go with Jake Paul. I don't think the fights are like rigged or anything, but I'd go with him. Everybody
He's
says they're rigged, but
well, couple things to think about. I know this isn't the occult, but Tommy Fury is a boxer, and well, Jake
yeah,
Paul is
well,
too. Jake Paul's
yeah,
too.
yeah, but people they don't they don't like Tommy Fury and don't call him like an experienced boxer because his opponents have a combined record of like 24 wins and like 120 something losses.
Yeah,
But that's kind of bad. But at the same time, that's like a way better record than what Jake Paul's fighting. So I think it'll still be a challenge for Jake Paul, and I think it'll be a good fight. So
I think someone's going down in the fourth. I don't know who, but someone's going down in the fourth. All right,
everybody says the fourth.
I'm just following suit. I'm just following suit. I don't even
Just
care.
following suit.
I don't
You're
even.
gonna put money on it?
No, I don't care. I don't.
Okay.
I don't care.
You'll
No.
watch that. You'll watch the highlights though.
Oh yeah, yeah. They'll be all over TikTok. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out. All right, so we're running way out of time. I don't got nothing left. You got anything to say to the folks before we kick this one down?
Good questions. Continue commenting questions and commenting, your beliefs and viewpoints and topics that you'd like us to potentially discuss in the future. We're definitely open to feedback.
Yeah.
Uh, like and subscribe. Haven't said that in any of the episodes, but it definitely shows support and shows that we're going on the right path right now. And
There you go.
yeah, good episode.
Good. Another one. Another good episode.
Mm.
All right, we're out in 3, 2, 1. Later, buddy.
Later.